Hi everyone, thank you so much for tuning into my channel. Today I am sharing how I make beef chapli kebabs. This is not the first recipe that I'm sharing. I also have another one which is in Urdu and also extremely delicious. I am going to link it here for you as well. So these Peshawari-style beef patties are succulent, juicy, and they almost melt in your mouth, and you won't believe how quick and easy they are. There are a few steps and ingredients involved in this recipe which I would say are kind of a must, especially if you want them to taste like the real chapli kebab. But I do have substitutes in the video for you guys, and also I have made this video and recipe in a way in which I have ingredients that are a must and ingredients that are optional with substitutes and everything. So let's get started with the recipe, but before that, please do consider subscribing to my channel and giving this video a big thumbs up. So to start with, I have 1 kg of beef mince with 20 to 30% fat. Then I had about 400 grams onion, roughly 3 medium-sized onions which I roughly chopped. And then I have red pepper cornflakes. I have some coriander seeds, cumin seeds, salt to taste, and also black pepper, which I just realized is missing in this clip, and an egg which I am going to fry later, a tomato. So these ingredients that you see here are mandatory, and after that, if you want, you can add some carom seeds, you can add a little bit of ginger garlic, especially for digestive perspective. And you do need maize flour. It's a bit different than corn flour. It's white maize flour, and it really gives your chapal kebab the authentic texture and mouthfeel. But if you can't find it, sometimes it's harder to find it in the desi grocery stores. You can simply replace it with corn flour and rice flour. Everything is mentioned in the description box, so don't worry about the quantities. And this here is a piece of lamb fat, which we are going to render, turn it into liquid, discard all the tissues and ligaments, and this is what we're going to fry our kebabs in. It's extremely important if you want your kebabs to be like the ones you get from the street vendors back home in Pakistan. You need to use it. Trust me when I tell you this, it makes a huge difference with or without lamb fat. So if you have a local butcher, a desi or an Arab butcher around in your area, you can simply walk up to them and ask them that you want a pound of lamb fat, and they will cut it fresh and give it to you. So I hope it's not a problem, but if you can't get hold of it or if you don't want to use it, what you can do is you can replace it with clarified butter or desi ghee. It's not gonna taste exactly the same, but it would still be good. And for melting it, you have two options. If you have a food processor, just break it into small pieces, process it, and then melt it. That will be super fast. And if you don't have a food processor, just on low heat, put it on a non-stick pan and let it melt, and then sieve it out and discard all the ligaments. You can do this step weeks ahead, and you can save this and keep using it in all your Peshawari or namkeen sort of dishes. Now for the actual kebab mixture, the first thing I am going to do is I'm gonna chop and process my onions. You want them fine because you do need to remove excess liquid out of it. If there is too much liquid in your kebab mixture, it's going to break and it won't be holding its shape. So here I have a couple of pieces of muslin cloth. I'm adding my ground onions. They shouldn't be in pasted form, just finely ground enough so that you can remove the excess moisture out of them. And you can see how super liquidy my onions were. So I'm going to put these aside, and the next thing I'm going to do is chop my tomatoes. I'm going to cut them and remove the seeds because again, we don't want too much moisture in our kebabs. The moisture and the juiciness is going to come from the fat that we're going to use, and also the texture from the onions and the tomatoes. And you can definitely chop them in a food processor, but I feel like they turn it into a paste rather than chopping them into fine pieces. So I just like to use a sharp knife to chop them in small fine pieces. So once that's done, you can keep that aside. And next I am going to grind my cumin seeds and coriander seeds, which I dry roasted, and once they were cooled, I am grinding them. I like to do it fresh because the fragrance and the taste, it's so much better once you do it fresh. And then I add everything but spices in my food processor and mix it for 10 to 15 seconds and not more, because I don't want it to turn into atta or a dough. You want it to still have a little bit of that fiber. This is how it looks at the moment. And if you don't have a food processor, you can easily do it by hand because everything else is finely chopped anyways. Here is the egg that I fried. Once it was cool, I roughly chopped it, adding that into the mixture. Then I'm adding in all of the spices, the ones that we ground, also the red chili flakes, some salt, black pepper, and since I couldn't really find maize flour this time, I'm using the substitute, which is the rice flour and corn flour. Give it all a good mix. So this here is your basic mixture, and then on top of it, if you want, you can add things like pomegranate seeds, you can add some fresh green chilies, some fresh coriander, a little bit of mint, a little bit more tomatoes. It's completely your choice, but these are the bare minimum that you will be needing to make your chapal kebabs, and this is how the mixture should be. It's fine but holding its shape. And since I had some coriander and I love fresh coriander, I decided to add that in at last minute. So to fry them, I have taken a wok. It's on medium-low heat. I've put the fat that we rendered in, and now I'm going to start making the patties. You are gonna make a bigger size patty because they tend to shrink a lot, and try to keep it thin in the middle. That is where we're gonna add the piece of tomatoes that I have sliced thinly, and they do tend to bulk up in the middle, so that's the reason why we keep it a little bit thinner towards the middle as well. This is how you will be making all the patties. And if you want to make this for meal prep and to make it ahead of time, I personally like to fry them, and then once they're cool, I transfer it in a container with pieces of parchment paper. And to reheat them, you can simply put it on a pan without even oil, and they will come back to their former glory. Or if you have an air fryer, just put it in an air fryer for a few minutes and they would be as good as the day you have freshly made. And for frying, do not move them too much, just let them cook. Once you start seeing the edges getting super brown and dark, that's when you want to turn them, otherwise the tomato is gonna fall right off the top. And before serving, I add a little sprinkle of salt and a little sprinkle of garam masala. Both are optional, but they do add wonders to the flavor and the end result. And you can pair it with Kabuli pulao or any pulao in general, and they are super amazing with a freshly baked naan and served with some chutney or yogurt raita. Super delicious. They are a huge family favorite in my house. Let's break into one and see how it looks. It's so hot, it's almost burning my fingers, but it's so irresistible. You can see how moist and soft it is. You can see how juicy it is. So that's all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Do try it and share your recreations with me on my Instagram page, which is by the same name, the homemaker baker _falafalik. Until next time, the homemaker baker over and out.